This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the chairman and CEO of Mawson Resources, Mr. Michael Hudson. Mike, first and foremost, how are you? Do you find yourself in good health?
I am in good health, fortunately, at the moment. Touch wood, Gerardo.
It's good to hear. I know that you had quite a busy month. There was PDAC. I know that you were on the road prior to and immediately afterwards. So that's great news. There was also great news earlier this month from Mawson. You put out, I believe it's the best drill hole of the 2020 winter season for Mawson. It was 7.2 meters at 21.7 grams per ton gold. That included 2 meters at 52.7 grams per ton gold. And more importantly, this was a 120 meter step out hole. Can we talk about the release from March the 9th and how things are progressing there?
Yeah, that was probably pretty much timed with the start of the fall of the market. So it got a little lost in that week when everything went pear-shaped as this virus news started to spread globally. But that doesn't change the gold in the ground and what this asset is building out to in Finland. So we've had an initial resource, as everybody probably knows, back in December 2018, just a little north of 400,000 ounces. We drilled in 2019 and extended that, but didn't have enough drill holes to put a resource together. And now this year we've infilled and extended that resource and tripled the meters from that initial 2018 resource. We'll put out a new resource going into Q3 that will have triple the drill meters, and those that triple the drill meters will include results like this where there've been big step outs. We're finding other high grade trends. We've got, basically each of the three bodies now drilled down to 600 meters down plunge. There's three bodies. And the growth of the volume, at least, and now we can start to talk about some tons when we get grade. The step outs will add to those initial resources without a doubt, and it's just growing so nicely, Gerardo. It's providing such a it's so pleasant when a body and bodies in the geological world continue to get better, and that's what we're seeing. The grades are getting better, and we're following it and have continuity, and that continuity is because we understand that the controls on gold as much as we can, and that doesn't often happen in our space, right? These things don't always grow like that, but you can take pause and say, thank goodness, this is looking very nice.
Well, and that's got to be exciting for yourself and for shareholders. Obviously, you've reported, I believe, 13 out of the 34 holes as of that news release, and drilling was ongoing there. What's the status of assays, and what are we expecting in terms of news flow over the coming weeks and months, Mike?
Well, we put out a release yesterday on our Australian assets, but as part of that release, we announced that drilling had ceased around all this whole virus and COVID and making sure everyone was safe. We took the decision to stop a few hundred meters short of our planned 15 kilometers. So I think we drilled just short of 14.2 kilometers. We finished 37 holes and we haven't released anything since March 9th yet. So we've still got 13 out of 37 holes, or 13 holes only out of the 37 released so far. So still some good news flow to come, and we're working away in shifts in our drill core facility, or the guys are working from home, guys and girls are working from home. So it has slowed things down a little, but not hugely. The assay labs are still working as far as we've been told. So those results will continue to flow, as we've said, up through until April, May.
You mentioned news out of Australia, massive, massive land package. You announced the execution of the agreement for the Central Victoria and Goldfields investment and acquisition in Australia, close to home. Obviously, can we talk about that? I mean, these are projects that I'm excited to see developed, and I know it's earlier stage for some more than others. But can we talk a bit about what the approach is going to be once things get back to normal?
Well, with the world shutting down, it seems like a smart move getting some projects only 100 kilometres north of where I'm sitting right at this stage, a little more accessible and easier to work perhaps than a lot of places around the world. But as we've just talked about, the Finnish projects create such a solid base for Mawson. You can see that our resource base is growing and continues to grow, and we're very excited. And it looks like a big system there that we're banking per drill hole, if you like. Now, the Australian side of things is earlier stage, but it creates a huge optionality. This has essentially added very little to our market cap at the moment. We just closed yesterday. We signed the definitive agreements, and actually we'll be closing over the next day or so in terms of just the mechanics. But that's done now. So that creates huge optionality in the head frame of what is the best and highest grade and most profitable gold mine in the space, being Fosterville.
Well said. 3,600 square kilometers. Am I correct? I'm working off of memory here, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you got your memory is still holding up there. So it's a three-tiered project or three-tiered deal. We have the right of first refusal on the largest contiguous tenure position in the state of Victoria, 3,600 kilometers. That's huge, right? That's something like 100 by 100 kilometers if in terms of just putting it boundaries around those permits, and they're all contiguous. They include the mine that was mined by Perseverance before they went to mine Fosterville. So that's number one, and for that, first right of refusal was gained by taking a 10% holding in Ngambie Resources, which is an ASX listed company that holds this ground. And then we purchased outright a project called Clonbinane that in itself has drill holes just as good as Finland, but only been looked at the very surface in the oxide profile. It's open over 11 kilometres, and there's holes like 17 metres at 7 grams gold at 50 metres untouched in that. So that's a fantastic project in its own right. And then we've joint ventured into two projects. Not too far from Fosterville and immediately along strike from Mandalay's Costerfield mine, literally along the same structure. And once again, they haven't ever been looked at from more than the top 50 metres. So high grade targets going to depth is the aim in all of these areas. And it was a forgotten area until Fosterville put it back on the map, and we know it pretty well.
Well, that's a lot to look forward to. What's the market cap for Mawson look like right now, Mr. Hudson?
That's a good question. It's so volatile that you put me on the spot, but I can tell you it's 36 million Canadian.
36 million Canadian. And when will we have that updated resource estimate? You said mid-year?
Yeah, I think July, August, something like that.
Well, I believe we are on the verge of what will be looked back at as a historic gold bull market. We're currently right around the $1,650 level. We're seeing $100, $120 moves on a daily basis now. And I gotta believe with all of the liquidity and stimulus that's being provided on a global scale, that we're just getting going on what I think is going to be a phenomenal time to have millions of ounces of high-grade gold in a stable jurisdiction. So keep us posted. Thank you for coming on. Anything you'd like to add, Mike?
In two stable jurisdictions, actually, being Finland and Australia. So we're really branding ourselves as an explorer in two safe, highly prospective parts of the world.
There you go. Well said. That's why you get the last word. Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gerardo.